Aloha and welcome to Mana Inspiration with yours truly, Note Endurance. And like always, we're going to have our scripture. This week's scripture is in Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 through 4, which says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." That's awesome. And that reminds me of Tony Robbins' quote, and he says, "The secret to living is giving." And then I got another quote from Ken Robinson, which says, "What you do for yourself dies with you. But," said, "when you leave this world, what you do for others lives forever in you or forever in them." Let me repeat that. What you do for others dies with you when you leave this world. What you do for others lives on forever. There we go. Now, the quickest way to get out of your own head and selfish ambitions is really easy: to serve others. Now, take your mind off of your problems and focus on helping somebody else. You'd be surprised on what that actually does for you. Now, Zig Ziglar says, when you get all you want in life, you will get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. And that's 100% true. There's that saying, and it says, if you help others get what they want, eventually you will start to get what you want. And it's just by serving others. Now, speaking of being selfish, speaking of serving others, there's a story I heard from Tim Tebow. And it was during the time where he was at the Florida University with the Gators. And they were striving for an undefeated season. They were going basically undefeated until one game where they lost. Now, Tebow took it on himself to apologize to the Gator Nation and say that he will do better. He will give his all. He will be the hardest worker out there. Now, from that moment, he started thinking of a lot of selfish things of he didn't accomplish that undefeated season. Now, there was a banquet coming up, and it was an award show right after. So the night before was a banquet. He was attending the banquet. During this banquet, all he could think about is that he didn't make it. Basically, in his head, selfishly thinking about his accomplishments that he didn't achieve or came up short. Now, during this time where he was in his head, he had somebody approach him, and they were kind of timid, and they said, "Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to bother you, but there's somebody that flew or drove all the way from, I think it's Virginia or New York, down to Florida just to see you." Now, at that moment, he thought, let me just go say hi to this person. So they go and he gets introduced. Now, this young lady has a physical problem, like an illness. Now, that was one of her goals, is to actually meet Tim Tebow. He felt honored. And for some reason, inside, he heard something that he should do something for this girl because she'd made an effort to come and see him. So he didn't have any date or anybody to take with him to the award show the very next night. So he decided to ask her. Now, that next day, he had his people, I think his parents or whatnot, pick her up, take her out, get her all this dress, make makeup, everything. For that young lady, it was a very special day. Now, as they came in, they spent the day together. They had dinner, they did all this stuff. They were having a blast, having fun. Tim Tebow no longer thought about that undefeated season that he, I guess, dropped the ball with. because he was so focused on helping this young lady, achieve what she drove there for, just to see him. Now they were having a night, and this, when it comes down to the awards, he was up for, I think, 3 awards. The first 2 he didn't win. Now it was the last one he was up for. They say the first name, it's not him. Say the second, it's not him. The third, each award that he's up for, he doesn't get. Now it comes down to the last one where he's like, okay, I gotta at least get one thing. So as this comes along and he's listening, he's getting discouraged. That feeling from the day before of that not enough, felt like we fell short of our goal in our own head. All that feeling started to come back. As this happened, and before the last name was called, his mom reaches over and whispers something in his ear and says, Timmy, you already won the award. From there, he thought, man, this is not that important, because in the actual outcome of what's happening at this moment, he is helping this young lady achieve what she never thought would ever happen. So in the outcome, he no longer thought about selfishness, and it was all about that reward of helping this other person. Now, in that moment that we are steady dwelling on ourselves, I think if we shift our focus onto somebody else, it's in that moment that we start to feel fulfilled and happy, that we are no longer thinking about ourselves and we're onto that bigger purpose than what we think about us. Now, what if you help somebody get what they want, and in return, God gives you what you want? Would you be more helpful to help others? Would you be less helpful? I know myself, if I know that was the glory, I would help everybody. And that's what I strive to do, especially here with Mana Inspiration. This saying comes to my head: when you think you got it bad, somebody else has it worse. Remember that. Don't stay in your head. Get out of it. The quickest way we can get out of our own head is by shifting the focus onto somebody else and helping with them. Now, we can do simple things, and one is to write down gratitude on what you're thankful for. Another is serve in anything. And another is be kind to that person that you think is maybe hurting or needs some help. I challenge you guys is to shift that focus off of being selfish. Just like the scripture says in the beginning, do nothing out of selfish ambition, but do it all out of your love and your joy to serve others. Aloha, guys. On that note, I love you. Share the message, like it, subscribe, share it with others. And like I always say, here in the Mana Inspiration, we're here to get through this thing we call life together. Aloha again. Salute to the troops. Aloha, and you guys have a blessed week. Thanks.